Alright, you guys, so I'm wearing a little action camera of myself. I'm going to do a speed run through of the camera and zoom setup. So I'm going under the desk, getting the tripod out, and I let down that one leg with the writing on it to just where the bold lettering is. Then I let down the other two legs. And then I'm staring at that little bubble pictured on your screen here, just to make sure that everything's level before I go and put the camera on it. So now I'm grabbing the camera bag, which now lives under this desk as well. Before I get the camera out though, I'm just going to go ahead and connect the battery pack to the Sling Hub, and that's going to turn it on automatically. And I'm doing that just so while I'm doing the rest of the stuff, that'll eventually turn solid blue so I can connect the cameras to it. I take everything else out of that front pocket, flip the bag over, and I'm ready to take the camera out. Actually, I'm taking one more thing out. I'm taking the iPad out. I didn't need to do this now, but I'm holding down the button at the top right till the Apple logo appears, like so. And we're just going to let that marinate. Taking out the camera, making sure I take off the lens cap. Flipping out the viewer screen before I put it on there. And tightening it down, making sure everything else is pretty tight so that it just doesn't go flopping around. So now I'm putting on the Sling satellite, and it slides in after you rotate that little bottom circle there, and I'm tightening it down, making sure everything's tight on the tripod again because it wasn't. So now I'm taking everything else out of that front pocket. I'm going to make a couple of connections. One is the micro HDMI, and the other is the USB. I said those two things backwards, but the little end goes on the Sling satellite. The big end is going to go to the camera. That's the HDMI cable. And the other one was the USB power supply. That's just sort of flopping over there on the other side. And the last thing to connect to the camera is the camera's power source, which I am detangling right now. Get that plugged in. And now while I'm holding some of those loose cables, I'm going to lift it by that center holder thing if you can. Please don't lift it by the legs. It is the most dangerous way to lift it. And I'm putting it up on the desk. And then I'm just going to slide these little foam feeties in there just for a little extra shock absorption for when heavy-footed people walk by. Last but not least, I'm going to find this brown power cable down here. I'm going to give that a loose wrap around the tripod stand, and I'm going to go ahead and connect all the various power sources to that. And I like to keep any extra cable length on the desk so that it's not hanging down and putting strain on the thing. So right now I am checking, well, I just turned on the camera, and then I'm going to check to make sure that it's actually level, and I just do that by comparing far away vertical lines to the sides of the viewer. You can't quite see me doing this, but this is all explained pretty thoroughly in the camera setup video. So now I'm just making little fine-tuned adjustments to make sure that it's nice and level. And then I also just zoomed it in on that that podium over there where service always starts. Don't forget to turn on the Sling satellite like I did. Well, maybe the Sling Hub wasn't ready when I put the camera up there, but I was jumping up on the desk so that I could now turn on the Sling satellite by holding down the button until the light flashed and turned solid white. Now I'm grabbing all the rest of the stuff. Say hi, Frankie. And I'm going to head back by the laptop over by the drum set. That's Havis. Super early. Alright, gonna set the Sling Hub down with all the connections, the connection side of the hub, facing out towards the congregation so I can easily connect things. So this is the other HDMI cable, and you're going to hook the HDMI side to the Sling Hub and the USB side to the laptop like I just did. And then while that's happening, I'll let the laptop turn on and warm up. Now I'm connecting the power supply to the power strip down here to the right, and then I'm plugging in the other side to the Sling Hub, like so, making sure the cables stay behind the laptop. The password for the laptop is on that post-it note right there, as well as all the different connections you need. Now I'm just going to turn on OBS here, which just needs to be running in the background. And I'm going to make sure that I'm making sure that the internet is working by checking the internet icon. So now I'm going to wake up the iPad. I'm going to put in the password, which is George with a capital G. Then I'm going to press the Sling Studio icon, and I'm going to let that load up. While I'm doing that, I'm going to the internet on the laptop, and I'm just going to open up Zoom. Can't really see me doing that. And I also am going to make sure that I'm pressing the default project on the iPad. That is the one you want. And so I opened up Zoom just to make sure that it was still logged into the Imani account and not the OIGC account, which gets used on that laptop sometimes. And I'm plugging in the iPad because I noticed now that it's only got about 68% life in it. With all of those things running, now I'm going to go get the ladder so I can turn on the other Sling satellites. I'm going to carefully get the ladder. And go ahead and climb up, also carefully. And you can't really see it, but I'm just holding down the button on the Sling satellite to for like 5 seconds until it starts flashing, and then I stay up there until it turns solid white, just in case it does something other than that. But fingers crossed it won't. In the off chance that the cameras themselves are also off, I'm going to put on the screen right now the button that will turn on the camera. And you don't need to hold that down, you can just press it once. Okay, and I'm going to do the exact same thing up here for the second camera. Also can't really see me doing it, but you know, same process. And waiting for it to turn solid white, which it did. So down we go. And then gonna put the ladder away, also carefully. Then you're going to angrily readjust this mic that they are always pointing up at the speaker for the recipe for feedback. That step is optional. Alright, and now we should see all of our camera angles on the iPad. I'm going to go ahead and put that wide right angle on there. Close anything superfluous on the screen, any sort of update. Now I'm going to actually start the meeting. And I did this from Zoom, where I just went to meetings, and then I scrolled down to Sunday service, I think is what it's called. Now I'm going to go to full screen. I'm also, since I'm the first person, I'm going to pause the recording, and I'm also going to make sure that I turn on, what is that called? Original sound for musicians, that's what it's called. And that'll be in the top right corner. And I'm also, last but not least, just going to rename myself Imani Sanctuary, and that way I'll have a distinct name from Seyran or Marcel on Zoom. And then yeah, I was just double checking to make sure I was in the right meeting, because I'm usually not the first person on. So yeah, that's all I'm doing right now. And then I'm going to go back, going to make it full screen, and then yeah, that's it. That's the whole thing. Good luck.